All right, I'm Molly. I'm here with Ron.
From Buffalo Bartenders, yet again, finally back in the saddle.
Yeah, I know, we missed you last week.
I know, I had a couple week break there.
We are missing Heather this week, but that's okay. We have Bridget from Legacy on 18 Mile Creek. Hi, Bridget, how are you?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
My first podcast ever.
We're getting that a lot, which is kind of
Yeah.
nice that people have never done these before. So
Well, thanks for having us. I always love being in this space. It's gorgeous, and especially with the sun out, it's really nice in here with all the lighting. So we'll dive right into it. All right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Legacy 18? I know it's a newer venue. When was it built, and when did it start hosting weddings?
So we had our very first wedding July 29th of 2023.
Okay.
Have done 129 since then, which is wild.
Crazy.
Where did we come from? Well, my husband and I came from South Florida, and
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, came here to Western New York to raise our kids and meet amazing people like you guys.
Love it.
And we just wanted to have fun and enjoy. You know, I wanted to love what I do and not feel like I was going to work every day. And I love weddings. I love love. I'm super cheesy. And I heard about this concept of wedding venues, and I was like, oh, I never thought about it. And so we designed it, built it, and have been going ever since.
what's crazy when you pull up, like you almost miss it because it's like
Yeah.
set back in a residential
Yes,
area.
I know. I love
But
this property.
Once you pull up to it, it's such an amazing, beautiful space, and I think you guys nailed it with the design and having all your outdoor spaces and things like that. It's an amazing venue.
Very well designed, for sure. Like just even having the upstairs and just the outside space with the board game, or not the board games, but like the lawn games and stuff like that, and the bonfire. It's awesome.
Thanks, guys. When we designed and we built and we structured everything here was looking at it at the lens of our customer. Like what we built the venue for weddings.
Yeah.
Down to the sidewalks, like how they direct people and where you go. And a lot of like my own personal experience from
for
my
sure.
own wedding. Like I would have loved to have had a room to just go and take a moment, take a breath. I love the girls are changing out of their dresses
Yep.
now and enjoying the end of their evening in pajamas. That would have been great.
I know. I wish I put on sweats at the end of my wedding
When did
too.
that kind of start? Because I just started noticing it last
Like the past
year.
2 years is when I started
Yeah,
noticing
yeah.
it. Like after I got married.
Yeah.
That idea never came
I've
to
been
me.
trying to get pictures of the couples cheersing each other at some point throughout the evening.
Yeah.
And one of my weddings last year, it was like 9 o'clock, and I went to find them, and she's already in like silk pajamas, and I'm like, "What is happening here?" I'm like, but it's great. Like, be comfortable, do
Oh,
you,
for sure.
and have a good time.
Yeah.
And the bridesmaids too.
Yeah.
I love
Oh, yeah.
that they're, because one was they were all in flannel, black and white or black and red checked flannels
Yeah.
because it was a December wedding, and they looked so cozy. They had slippers on, having the time of their life.
I know, having a good time, like not in a dress. Like
Right.
the one wedding I remember I did here, the bride and groom both changed into sweats, and they had the light up sneakers. It was so cool. It was so cool, and it was so fun because like the dance floor, you could see their light up sneakers. It was really cool.
Well, I think that's the cool part about where weddings are going today is it's not like your traditional formal expectation
Right.
of the dinner
There's no rules.
and the dance, that people are appreciating and getting excited about like the details
Yep.
of people changing their clothes or shoes or like fun drinks that
Yeah, the personal touches.
that you can do.
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
It's definitely
Yeah, it's
fun.
not your stuffy like carpet and gold chandeliers anymore, and the garter toss and all that.
Right. All those
Older
traditions.
things that were great when I mean they were around when I got married. I got married in 2013, so like those were still things.
Yeah, they're not really
we
a thing
skipped
anymore.
them all. 'Cause my wife and I were, I guess, maybe ahead of the curve. Like we were like, no.
Yeah, no, a
we
lot
are
of people
not
don't do
doing
it.
all this traditional stuff. We're doing what we want to do.
Yeah.
And
That's the mindset to have. You got to do what you want to do for your day. It's your day.
We got married in the same year,
did we? What month?
September.
We were in November.
Yeah.
Close
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
All right. So, speaking of that, what makes your venue unique, like different from other? I mean, other than the lighting and the windows, it's beautiful. But there's other features I know here that make it more unique.
So I think a lot of it is our grounds as well, and there's so many beautiful spaces out there. I think that we're kind of nestled in between our own woods, like we own the woods around. So nothing is getting close to us. So we kind of have that like little security inside of here with our green space. Our outdoor ceremony space, I wish I could get married to my husband. Same guy.
Let's do it over again.
Again.
Well, you have a venue.
That's what I keep telling him.
Renew your vows.
He's like, why? I already said I was.
Maybe another 10 years.
You know, it's a nice, good size walk down to our ceremony space, because I always like to tell people, like, you get this one moment, maybe a vow renewal, but doesn't look like I'm getting that. You can fully take it in, and you can see as you're approaching the ceremony space, and it's just such a cool moment for both the bride and the groom, because I always love that the groom walks down here a lot of times as well. And it is kind of like tucked inside of its own landscaping as well. I think our outdoor space is very like comfortable.
Yeah.
There's the giant chessboard, there's the fire pit, there's giant Jenga and Connect 4. And what I love about that is that people who don't necessarily want to be inside with the music all night long for 3 hours don't go home.
Right.
They stay.
They go sit by the fire.
They sit by the fire.
Right.
They
Yeah.
play a game. They sit on the covered patio. I think our covered patio is also a good feature that we have.
It has heat, so that
It
helps.
has heat. It's also, we have the drop-down screens, so we can have a ceremony out there if Mother Nature, the one thing we cannot control, we don't have to bring the ceremony inside the building
Right.
if the couple doesn't want us to.
Right.
I love, like I mentioned before, our rooms upstairs for the bride and the groom, or in their wedding party or their family. I think it's essential that the bride and groom have their own bathrooms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. The groom always kind of gets left out, so it's nice that you do provide that for the groom.
Yeah.
Well, we have it easy though.
You
We
do,
just
but you
walk
still
in
need
and
a
we just
bathroom.
walk in and go. It's not like we have this huge dress on. So.
No, but it's nice to have their own space.
I'm not going to disagree with you. But we got it pretty easy. So
You do.
I never
You do.
feel left out when there isn't one for us.
But I love the moments of the guys upstairs, and you can hear them just like hanging out.
Yeah.
There's some great pictures. We had a barber come once and
that's cool.
trimmed up the
Very nice.
groom before he walked down the aisle.
Oh, that's a good
Because I
idea.
think too, it is part of your day as
Right,
well.
right.
And I think too much, not that I don't love our brides, I do. But it's a big moment in a man's life as well. Or
I know,
whoever.
yes.
The two people getting married, I
Yes.
should say, both people.
It's not
can
just the
have their
bride,
own
it's
space.
bride and groom.
Exactly. So, with our step out balconies and the
Yeah.
little cheesy, cute pictures.
I know, it's cool.
I really need to get out here when it's not the fall or the winter, because I've only been out here when it's fall or winter. So I could imagine. We'll show you guys this greenery out here. Well, lack of greenery, but it'll be there.
It will. I did a wedding in June, and it was gorgeous.
But I can
out-
imagine like
outside.
how beautiful it would be, and especially in the fall to have all the different colors out here has to be breathtaking.
And I find that like in the middle of summer, the green here is just so green.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's just the vibe.
I can't wait for that time of year because looking outside and seeing the brown is just, I'm so over this winter.
You almost get like a woodsy vibe out here, just looking at everything, like because you are offset.
Yeah.
And you do have all the greenery around you, so.
It's very quiet and quaint. Like, that's what I love about it. You kind of are in your own little bubble on this property.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's exclusive rental, so nobody else is on the property that day. It's just you. It's just your wedding and your guests. Right, we're not in a metropolitan area. Not that but we're kind of nestled in this community, and I love that the town of Hamburg has welcomed us, and our neighbors are super excited.
Yeah. It's a nice addition to the area for sure.
Yeah. So.
So speaking of which, why don't you take us through the process of booking weddings at the Legacy? From start to finish, like I'm sure you do site walkthroughs and all that kind of stuff.
So one of the things about when you come or you're interested in Legacy is the first person you meet is me.
Which is the best.
Everybody
Which
always
it should
says
be. As an owner, it's so great that you're
Yeah.
so hands-on and you're so involved in everything. And you have so much passion and care for what happens in your venue, so.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. My husband told a couple one time, because a lot of times you'll meet him because he is the one who takes care of the property, manicures the grounds, the building, the whole thing. So it is truly like a family-run business here with us. Sometimes my kids will run around. Not during weddings, but they'll be here because we put our heart and soul into this business. So the first person you meet is me, and because I like to get to know the people that are coming in too.
Absolutely.
we don't just look at this as like how many people can we get through our door and how many bookings can we get. It's also like how many people that are true legacy people can come and celebrate with us. So after your tour that I will talk way too much in,
And I feel like you have to see it too to understand.
and kind of show you around. And I when I go through my tour, I talk a lot about the whys that I did things. you know,
Yeah.
especially when I'll ask people, do you have any must-haves? And they're like, no, not really. After we go upstairs, I'm like, so did you add a bridal bathroom to your must-have list? And they're like, yeah. You know, because again, my own experience, I didn't have that.
Right.
And
Right.
I needed it. So you kind of get the tour. I like to make the process simple. Like
Yes.
you come, you tour with us. After that, if you want to book a date with us, it's as simple as just sending me the date. If anyone's been to my website, my price is out there, my dates are out there. Simple.
Yep.
And we book the date, and we split our payments up into 3 payments,
Okay.
so it's not like an all bunched
Right.
into one. I like a good budget. And we kind of go from there.
How far are you? How far in advance do you think couples should come and tour and get their date secured? Because I know you're pretty booked right now. Yeah. So what would you tell couples if they got engaged? It's like I would start looking now at this time, and how far out would you suggest booking?
It's a good question.
Because how booked are you?
So we're pretty booked this year.
Yes.
With some do I think that a couple could come in and have their wedding planned for November or December of this year? Absolutely.
Okay.
Because then they find amazing people like you to get it done.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I'm hopeful at the end of the year.
Exactly. I see most people are coming in about a year and a half out.
Yeah. I mean, you're booking up pretty quick. That's just, I'm kind of stressing, do it kind of ASAP.
Let's keep it real. If you don't have your venue, should you even start booking anybody
No,
else?
no,
Yeah.
that's the thing. The starting point is getting a date and a
Yeah.
venue.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
And when somebody requests to book a date, I give them 7 days to, look over the agreement.
Give them time.
Process
Yeah.
it. It's like a big decision in life at that point in
Yep.
time, right? But also then, start calling some catering companies, some bartending companies, and see if that works.
Right,
because all of the pieces do have to come together.
Yeah, you got to
that
do
you
that
want it to be.
research.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any preferred vendors, or do the couples bring their own in type thing? How does that work?
So I do have a list. I like to call it your starting point, your suggested list. I was a math teacher, so it's like your reference sheet.
Yep. Yeah. It's helpful.
Yes, because being a new venue, I started to do research, and I wanted to learn, because I hadn't been here in 16 years or 18 years, about who's here, what's happening, and it was very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Google was my friend, and Google was my enemy at the same point. I'm
Right.
Okay, wait, who is it? How much do they cost? What is it going to be? So I feel like I like to say it's a starting point, because then you can kind of
Well,
go from there.
like when our parents got married, who would probably be the ones kind of guiding you a little bit, everything that they did was at a venue that had pretty much everything
Right.
in-house.
Yes.
And nowadays it's not like that. You're booking everything individually. So it's always good to have that good reference point to get started, and, people that you trust to come into your building and do the job.
Right.
So.
And I think that that's one of the things is, someone can't pay to be on my list. Somebody cannot, you are on our suggested list if you've been here, you've shown that I can trust that our couples, I truly care about each couple that comes through.
Yes.
Here. And that's what I was going to say before. My husband tells people, when she asks you how you met, I really do care. I really, if you tell me your high school sweetheart, or, actually this is my brother's best friend, I'm going to die. I love it. Or you got engaged in Italy.
Yeah.
I'm going to be super jealous, but, stuff like that. So I feel like if I'm going to put forth some vendors in front of them, they have to be
Trustworthy.
Yep. And to a standard that I think is appropriate.
That's how
we're
I am
not-
about my recommended vendor list. I got to work with them. I got to know them and be able to know that I can trust them. Throwing their name out there, because it reflects on me too.
Exactly.
I wanted to say this earlier, but I actually have had 2 brides tell me that they booked this place because of you.
Oh,
I forgot to tell you that. 2 brides have told me that specifically, like, Bridget's awesome. That's why I booked the place.
well, and I think because what you get here is a sense of like family.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't want to be strangers to our couples and their families. Like, I don't want to see a couple and, you know, somebody in the grocery store and they don't know who I am.
Right.
But yet you got married you spent amazing moments and had a huge milestone in your life on this property with my staff and not actually know us.
Right.
Like so we have 2 leads, team leaders that work here. One was my 8th wedding ever. So I was still a newbie, like deer in headlights, like, oh my God.
But she liked you that much to come back and work
And
for you.
she reached
so
out,
that's
was like, I
awesome.
miss you, I want to come work here. So like she brings that extra
Yeah.
passion, which I think is important and what we are here. And then my other is getting married here in November.
I've worked with a few of them, and they're fantastic. Like, when I come here as a day of coordinator, it's always like a breath of fresh air when the venue or the venue, you know, supervisors are helping you, and like they have your back, like, because sometimes I need help, you know, especially I don't know the property like they do. So I love the staff here. I'm so pro legacy, so I don't need to go over that.
Well, it's a group effort, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we're all in it together, like talking
Yeah.
about, you know, the bar is an essential piece of
For sure.
where weddings can go, different levels, you know, and like having you behind the bar, knowing that the bartender has the venues back as well, you know, because
And you don't have to worry about it.
We're kind of like your first line of security, because any issue that's going to happen is probably because of what we're doing
Right.
behind the bar. So
Yeah.
it's important to us, you know, and any vendor that comes in should be very concerned about what they're doing back there.
Yeah, for sure.
and with everybody, like it's a whole group team effort.
It
Like
is.
you become a team
Yes.
that day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you got to work. You got to learn work together. And I know this venue; they always are very helpful.
I think all the vendors you work with, it's amazing how fast you become like teammates with each other, because you almost don't you don't have a choice. Really.
Right.
And I always joke around with Molly, like Molly's one of the few planners that the emails that I got from her when I worked with her were so detailed, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, I know timelines that I don't even need to know right now, like, but that's great. And that communication is huge for every team working
Yeah.
at a wedding. So
I always try to do that with especially like when I work at Legacy. I want to make sure that I'm getting all that stuff done for you guys. So then come the time, everyone is on the same timeline that I created with the bride. So then that's less work for you guys to do, but we can all come together and work on it together. All right. The best question. What's your favorite part about hosting weddings?
my favorite part about hosting weddings is looking at all of what came together in a space that was this small little thought that I had at one point in time, and knowing that I am part of this moment in their lives,
Yeah.
and like just that little tiny piece of someone's story that we get to be a part of is like such an honor to me. Like it's such an amazing thing that somebody has trusted us, you know, same thing with you, you know, they trust us, they put all this faith in us, and we're able to be part of it. You know?
And then you execute it and it's successful, and then
Exactly.
they're so grateful and
Exactly.
appreciative of all the work and stuff like that you put in.
And the smile on their face just is priceless. You know, like
Yeah.
you
I'm
can't.
getting chills
I
that you're
know.
talking
I
about
know. I always tell people, so when you walk down to the ceremony, and we close the white drapes as the bride's going to get there, I'll tell them, if I'm not looking at you, it's not because I'm being rude. It's not because I don't care. It's probably because I'm crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a very good chance of that happening, because I get to know these people and spend this time with them on their special day, and it's amazing.
Yeah. My favorite time is at the end of the night when it's all said and done, like everything's come together, and like the couple is just like so like just great. Like
Yeah.
the end of the night is always my favorite part. Like just watching everyone, they're just so happy by the end of the night, you know?
Yeah.
And probably because it's halfway over, like it's over.
Right when they introduce them for the first time, as they walk through those doors, and it's just like they're calm, they're relaxed.
The ceremony is
they're-
very
yes.
stressful.
Yeah.
The hour before the ceremony is the most stressful time, and no joke, for 50 weddings, my husband would call, and I'm like,
Not the right time.
Like if something's going to occur
Yes.
and then you have amazing people, like yourselves that take care of it and figure it out, it's going to be like 30 minutes before
Yes.
the ceremony,
Yes.
right? And that's always the case. And yeah, but you just roll with it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You make it work, you roll with it, all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking about it too, that when they leave is my least
Yes.
favorite.
I know.
And sometimes I'm like, wow, I'm getting really emotionally connected to these
I
people.
know. Like I miss them, and like I really
do.
don't talk to them after the. Like I do, but I don't. Like we kind of get on with their lives. They're done with the wedding planning process.
Right. It's not really a repeat business.
It's not.
Well, you really hope not.
It's not supposed to be.
No.
Right. Maybe we'll host your family reunion or your
Right.
company Christmas party or something like that. That would be amazing. But saying goodbye to them.
I know.
It's sad.
And usually I do sometimes get like thank you cards or like text messages,
one
and
of my
that's always the
favorites.
best.
That's really one of my favorite things, especially when they take the time to like handwrite.
I
it.
love getting them in the mail.
Yes,
I love
that's-
getting them in the mail.
Yeah.
I hang them up. I actually have like a whole. Not that I have a bunch that are on a bulletin board in my office because I just love getting them, and they mean that much to us.
There's one card that I got, and I'm really so. We were at a venue near, I think it's in Naples, New York. It's called Wren's Roost.
Mm-hmm.
They have this amazing pond in the back, and for one of the couples, it was like glass. Like the pond was glass. There was no wind whatsoever, and the photographer was taking these amazing pictures in like the thicket and like all this stuff, and there was this reflection of like the bride and groom on the glass, and I don't think she saw it from where she was standing. So I ran over there and I was like, "You have to come here and like check this out. Like I think this would be an amazing picture." So they write me this thank you card, and it has like that picture was amazing, but didn't send me the picture. So if you're listening, I want the picture.
I thought you were gonna say you saw the photo.
I wanted it, and I couldn't. I lost the photographer's card. I couldn't find her on social media, and I was like, So I actually texted them, and I don't know if they got it or not because I never heard back from them again. But they like to travel, so I don't know if they were like just gone. But I was
Right.
like, man,
I know. I
still need
love
to see
seeing
this
those
picture.
photos.
Yeah.
I love working with the photographers, and they will send me the galleries of the weddings, and it's like it's my wedding, and I get to see the gallery for
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
time. It's so exciting. I love it. I love going through their photos, and I'm not in any of them.
Right. We are.
You
We're
know?
not in a single one of them. Talking about that is the very first wedding I ever booked.
Yes.
Well, we remember all of them. The very first wedding that I ever booked, we had nothing. I had not even broken ground. I did not have a foundation. I did not have plumbing. I had 4 pictures on a binder, and I met them at Spot Coffee in town. And I went home to my husband, and I was like, honey, he's like, it's okay. Like, I'm like, so they want a book. And he's like, what? I'm
Wasn't
like,
expecting that.
I'm like, I know, this is crazy. So their wedding, they took this iconic, like this gorgeous picture on the crosswalk up here, and the building just looks like absolutely fantastic. During their wedding, they were thanking their guests, and they thanked me.
That's so nice.
I then cried for an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
We're a little sensitive.
But it was just such a cool, like, moment that they
Full circle, like that they had their moment
and
from
that-
seeing it photos of it.
That saw it, right? So like getting those cards and like them saying something about it, because it was truly just. And now like they had a baby, and I sent them like a little onesie that's like a little legacy onesie. Like
Aw.
I want to keep in touch with them.
Yeah.
And I want to continue to
Yep.
celebrate them.
All right, so we've been talking a lot about the property and stuff. Why don't you kind of go over what's included internally for the couples as they book at Legacy?
So right, obviously our grounds, our ceremony space, and the things we have outside, and everything in the building, and then our decor den. Ooh, it's really come along. I technically kind of need a new building because I'm getting so much stuff, but I'm gonna have to get a little creative in how we store things. Our decor den kind of came about because I'm that kind of person that I think I'm gonna resell it, or I think I'm gonna coupon, or I'm gonna hit all the deals.
Yeah.
And I don't. Like, in the end of it, I don't.
Sounds like a great idea.
Right. Like, I don't look through all the flyers, and because I probably will have to go next week, and the sale is this type of thing. And then, those things that you don't necessarily want to buy 20 of, you don't want to have.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Like, I think we have over 200 bud vases now in our decor den. I have, greenery and table runners and card boxes because prices of things just keep going up. Mm-hmm. And the coolest part about our decor den is a lot of it is from other weddings that were here.
Yeah.
So people come and they'll use some of our stuff and they're like, well, I got to use all of your stuff that you included in your price for, there's no extra charge for it. So here, I'd like to donate this.
Yeah.
So it's fun that then when we use it in another wedding, I think of that other wedding. Yeah.
It's nice to be able to recycle it because, like you said, when you're a bride and you're buying a bulk of something, it's like, what are you going to do with it after your wedding?
I don't think most couples think about that in the planning process because you're just so excited and so in the moment.
I want it. I want it.
Well, you see it on Pinterest or like social media. You're like, yes, I got it.
I want it. Yeah, for sure.
Somebody once told me Pinterest is like the best and the worst.
I know it is for everything.
Weddings, for things like, because you get all these ideas, but then you realize how much these ideas are going to cost.
And reality sets in.
And what the reality of all of it is.
And you don't realize that the person setting it up is probably a professional in that field that can do that in their sleep. Whereas you, like, I always see those videos of people baking like the Pinterest cake. And they come out and they're just all kinds of messed up. But I think it's the same thing with like bridal decor. Like, it looks great on Pinterest and pictures, but they were also using lighting to to magnify what was going on there. And you may be great and you may get close to it, but you're probably never going to achieve that level, and you may be disappointed. In the end.
It gets costly. Like everything is a little on the expensive side. Prices keep going up on everything.
Right. It could be one table that they staged and then trying to recreate that for 18 more tables.
100%.
Or we're talking about a wedding for some multi-millionaire in one of these crazy countries,
we always say the celebrity weddings. It's like, can you really recreate, like Haley and Josh Allen's wedding when that happens?
And there's tons
it could be here.
That'd be awesome.
But there are tons of talented vendors in this area, but can they recreate exactly what you want? And don't be disappointed like if they can't pull that whole thing together. So having all that decor on site is just fantastic.
And I love what people will say is using a majority of our decor, whether you do or don't. Like we worked at a wedding and she didn't use much of our decor because she had that vision and you made it happen and together with all different vendors and stuff, which is great, which is what you can do here. You don't have to use our decor.
She used some of it, like not a ton, but she did use I think she used some of your bud vases. Like she just kind of wanted them scattered, so it's like you have the option to use as much or as little as you need. And the fact that your list keeps growing, because I've noticed that a lot of bride and grooms really like that the decor is kind of included with their venue because then they don't have to go out and buy all this stuff. So it's kind of nice.
Store it, bring it,
exactly.
I mean, then you got to buy a tote, which now it does. Those little tiny things add up. And
cleaning up at the end of the night is huge. It's like being able to just clean it up and put it in your den. It's like that makes things way easier on the couple.
When the lights turn on at the end of the night because the bar's closed, the music's off, and you look around and my staff is just clearing
I know.
I've been with them.
I would pay you for that service.
You should see what happens when the lights come on. I'm telling you, that last wedding, the three of us, we were like machines. We're like, we're cleaning up, we're getting out of here.
Especially when it's 10, 11 o'clock at night and you've been here since noon? Or
10, 11 in the morning.
You're just like, I'm done. I'm out.
Exactly.
Well, and so are the guests and the bride and groom and all that kind of stuff. So to have it like be done at the end, or even just seeing someone like, okay, I don't have to do that. I see them doing it. I'm just going to grab my stuff and I'm going to
That's usually what happens. They go up to the bridal suite, grab all their stuff personally, bring it down.
And I don't know if you get this, but I get it because a lot of the venues that I work at, mom or dad volunteer to do that cleanup at the end of the night.
That's why they hire me.
And when when I'm walking around doing like my final checks and my last cleanup, they'll like look at me and be like, I regret this. Because I don't think they realize like how long of a day it is. Like you're so excited
you don't want to
about
clean up
the wedding, you don't think about the aftermath of all that.
Well, and I think too, like couples will ask me about day of coordinators and why, yes, you have amazing people in your family and your bridesmaids are great today.
Right. But you want them to enjoy it too.
On your day, let them enjoy it. Let them,
You're giving them work.
I always tell people that we can clean up way faster.
Yes, yeah.
Seriously, we have a vision and we're
Set up
done.
and we can clean up way
Yeah,
faster than
yeah.
But do people still, obviously, we don't,
For sure.
we don't require coordinators
Right.
here, but I mean, I think, again, if I were to do it again, I would be calling you.
I was gonna say.
I'd be calling a coordinator
thing
because
for,
it's
for,
just,
for me, so.
A lot of because I've done a few weddings here, and they all say, I like word from their mouth. I don't know how weddings can occur without a day of coordinator, because like the venue's one thing and very helpful, but there's certain tasks and certain things that a day of coordinator just accomplishes so much that kind of takes the weight off the venue and makes things run way smoother and easier.
On the coordinator topic, I'm not trying to step on your toes here, Molly, but outside of yourself, do you have anybody else that would be, we had a talk in a previous episode about day of coordinator versus wedding planner. Do you have anybody on staff that handles any of that outside of hiring somebody? Just so brides kind of get an
yes.
idea.
So I wouldn't say, right, we kind of like are the second set of hands. So like when you get our rental of the building, we kind of become the second set of hands to everybody, like the caterer, the DJ, the bar, like the photographer. I mean, I've brought the photographer water. We've carried a DJ speaker. We help clean the table. So we're kind of like a second set of hands to everybody when it comes to like our standard rental.
So more of a venue coordinator though, not so
Yes.
much of a planner or a,
Right. Right.
I think there's a misconception, and
There's always-
we've
I-
talked about this. That
I
like,
keep talking about it.
you'll say that you're going to help them, but they get in their head like you're going to help us plan every detail. And
Like
we
the
just never wanna
timeline,
get that
vendor
twisted.
management, like the things that I do leading up to the wedding. There's, that's where I kind of come in, where it's like I provide that extra support,
Right.
planning all that stuff. Because, I mean, I've noticed that brides do go over a timeline with the DJ and or the catering just to make sure, but I go over all that with them, so then they don't have to go over that every time. They can just be
Right.
like, this is what I went over with the planner.
Right.
This is how the day's flowing, and then everyone just jumps on board with that
Exactly.
timeline.
Yeah. And here, everybody does have 2 in-house planning sessions. So they come in here and they can play with the decor. It's not, I'm visual,
Oh yeah, I've came here twice. I've met the
come
brides
here.
here.
And met the brides
Yeah,
here.
we set up the decor.
Which is I find a huge piece with people actually doing their planning in their space. It's not on the phone. It's not, it's not just, oh wait, where was that again? What does that actually look like? I mean, the pictures on my website of our decor is done by me.
Yeah.
Definitely not my calling. But seeing it and have it come to life, and then taking, like we were talking about, those Pinterest pictures and working with people on how to actually
Execute.
make it happen in reality.
Yep. Because both times I have met my clients here, and they bring all their stuff, they set it up, and then I take the photos. So then come the day of, I know exactly how they want it set up because of how we went over it. So the planning sessions are nice to be able to come into the space for a little bit and kind of get a feel for how you want things set up.
Right. Yeah. And one thing that we offer here for our Friday weddings is they can purchase a setup time for Thursday.
Okay.
So on Thursdays, they could purchase, a couple hours to come in and actually do their own setup, if that's the case, because, right, sometimes I'll look and think, right, how do we do these weddings without coordinators? But sometimes people just, that's not in the budget,
Right.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and I get that.
Some of them don't even have that much decor, like either way.
Exactly.
They just don't. Like they don't want
Exactly.
it.
It might be a smaller wedding. It might be something that they're like, this is not a traditional type of event.
Right.
It's just go with the flow type of thing. But they could come in on Thursday and do their setup.
That's nice.
We've had a lot that have had a coordinator and still done the Thursday because
Yeah.
it's much nicer.
It-
for a
I was
coordinator
gonna say,
as
it
well.
takes a lot of
Anything
stress
you get
off
done
us.
ahead of time is
Yes.
a
Yes.
smart choice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we kind of, that's an option for our
That's
Friday
nice.
weddings here. So yeah.
Okay. Well, if you want to get married Fridays, you get the extra day. All right. So what's next for Legacy 18? Like, I know you guys are completely booked up. Is there any exciting, upcoming events, news, anything like that?
Yeah, so we primarily focused on weddings since we opened,
Yeah.
right? And now we're starting to venture out and we're hosting some fundraising events, like local churches and schools have booked the venue for. We've done some banquets. We had a really cool hockey banquet
Oh, that's
here.
cool. This would be cool for a banquet.
We had a game truck come in, and the kids were out there gaming in the truck.
I didn't even know one of those existed.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, the ultimate game truck.
Oh my
I
God.
love it. It was fun. then we found half the adults in there. But biggest thing, like bringing in other types of things like corporate events, family gatherings, you know, some things like that. So
How many people can this space accommodate? I don't know if we.
So our max is 180.
Okay.
I find, like, especially when I'm talking to brides, I tell them make that your invited number.
Yes. Yes.
You know, yes, there's that percentage that people say that don't come.
But it's not always guaranteed.
Right.
Yes.
And I always tell people, so when you come, although anybody watching is going to know it now, I say, you know, if you've never met anyone that had everyone come to their wedding, you now have.
Yeah. Seriously.
Really?
Yes.
All of your invites?
Yes.
Wow.
Every single one.
Almost. Okay, so technically there was two that didn't come, but they never
that's
actually got the invitation.
Okay. Okay. So then, yeah,
Their
I would say
address
yeah.
was wrong.
Yeah.
Which.
All of your invites
Otherwise,
came.
then
So
yes.
pretty much all of our invites came. Never thought that was going to happen.
But it does happen.
And it does.
It does.
You know, it does. Or maybe only 5 say no. And you were
Right.
banking on 25.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I don't have any more tables.
Yeah. I know. You can't go over max. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's good
So our
advice.
max is our 180. I think our sweet spot falls in that like 160, 140 to 160. We have done weddings that were 55 people, and our very first wedding was 177.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
In the summer here, though, it wouldn't be too bad because if it's not a bad weather day, you can get
Right.
people outside and
Yeah,
moving.
yeah.
And,
There's a lot of space
but
outside.
Yeah.
I think
And the patio is always like accessible because
Right,
we have
right.
the drop down shade. So if it is raining sideways, or which doesn't happen here, we knock on wood on that.
But it is
It
Buffalo.
does it is Buffalo. Right, so you can go and you can kind of do different things.
Spread out.
But even when we had the wedding and there were 55 guests, the room didn't feel empty.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
like we still came up creatively on how to fill the space, and it was great.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't you tell us how people can find out and learn more a little bit about you, like your website, your social media, and that kind of thing.
So yeah, our website, legacy18weddings.com. Our social media, which I am actively trying to get better
You're
at.
doing really good. I know it's hard.
So it's kind of a scary place out there in a way. Like even kind of, you know,
Yeah, I
my first
feel ya.
podcast, right? It gets a little bit, so have some grace with us. But, yeah, our social media. The thing is, again, if you send us a message, send a request, call the number, you get me.
Perfect.
So
That's what we want. We want you. All right. Well, thank you so much, Bridget. This has been awesome. And as always, I love being here. I'm actually not even having to use my GPS to get here anymore because I'm coming here so much that I know the route to get here from Lockport. So, but thank you so much.
you're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Yeah, had a good time.
This was great.
All right.
And I'm coming back in the summer to see what this foliage looks like. It's gonna crash a wedding.
I was just say I have a wedding here in May 24th. I have a wedding here.
Okay, maybe I'll stop.
I was
by.
just saying, if you want to stop by and check it out, I have a wedding here May 24th.
If I need some security.